Controlled Chaos here. I want to talk to you guys about 5 things that developers can learn from No Man's Sky and Hello Games. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, don't overpromise or underdeliver. Hello Games learned this one the hard way with No Man's Sky. They promised a lot and didn't have everything in there. But there's a lesson that they learned. And there's more to that than just that. I'm going to go on with more of these tips and you'll find out why they learned from this and how they learned from this. Number 2, you don't have to monetize everything. Look at how Hello Games sells stuff. Their game is sold and you just buy it and you get a bunch of added features. They have so much in there, they could have done multiple expansion cells and they didn't. You get 8 years worth of added on content after the game was made that adds to it. Now, some of this, yes, was to add in those features that they promised when they were talking about the game before release. So they were fixing that problem by adding some of those features, but in that process they added in features that weren't even promised, and that's what I'm talking about here. They add in features for free to the players, and this is a good thing. The next thing I want to talk about is your game is only a failure if you give up on it, and this is something that Hello Games is really good at avoiding. They didn't give up on No Man's Sky. They didn't put it out there, get bad reception, and walk away. They kept at it. They sat quiet and worked on it for months and months and months and then released an update. And people saw that they're fixing things. They're adding things that they promised and stuff like that. So the player base started coming back. And then they kept doing that and kept doing that. You look at it now, it went from a somewhat positive game to a very positive game in the ratings on Steam right now. And that's really, really good. That's a great thing to do. You can put out a game, it can have issues, as long as you stick with it, fix those problems, and make your game better, you can win back your audience. And that's very important. Number 4. You can use a current game you have out in the marketplace to test features of your next game if it fits within the theme of the 2 games. And that's what they're doing with No Man's Sky. They're testing a bunch of features such as the pet feature in No Man's Sky can be used in Light No Fire. The writing of pets can be used in both games. The base building is used in both games, and you can see that especially with the base building because it started out with just big rooms that you connected with hallways, and then they actually created the floor, wall, ceiling system to be able to really customize and build out your own structures in unique ways. And you see in the Light No Fire trailer they're doing somewhat the same building there, and that's really nice. That's great that they're doing that because it allows them to test and see what players like and make adjustments to things in both games. They test it in No Man's Sky, they make adjustments based on what players say and the feedback that they get that's helpful, and then they implement that into Light No Fire, which means Light No Fire will be a lot better on launch than No Man's Sky was overall. The final one is learn from your mistakes. Hello Games has learned from their mistakes of what they've done wrong with No Man's Sky. They learned not to overpromise. And you see that by them not giving out too much information about Light No Fire. They only mentioned a couple of big features for that game. The rest of it is very normal game stuff that we see. Nothing new in technology except for a few things. So they learned there. And that's great. They learned from updates on what works, what doesn't, how to adjust, how to pivot. That's good. I like the fact that they didn't give up on the game. It's a killer game now. When it released, was it great? No, it was okay, but now it's a great game. Over these 8 years that they've added on, they just kept making it better and better and better. And the best part of it was they were not charging the player base for this, and they were still making a profit. And that's what's important. As long as they were making a profit and able to continue on, then they were fine and they're comfortable. So many of these big companies, EA, Activision, and stuff like that, they want to nickel and dime you and stuff like that. And I think the reason being is that they have board members that are pressuring the developers to add these features to bring in more money so that the board members and the shareholders can get more money. No Man's Sky doesn't have that pressure. It's a small independent studio. So they really don't have to worry about that. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that's the reason why you're seeing a lot of independent developers being more popular than these big corporate development companies. Is because they're actually able to try new things and put more risk at what they do because they're not having to answer to shareholders. They're not having to answer to board members and stuff like that. People who are not in the games industry. People who do not understand what it takes to make a good game. And that's part of the problem with the industry I see. And Hello Games has done a great job on making a killer game, taking something that didn't do so well and turning it into something that's doing amazingly well, and will continue to do so if they keep going in this direction. And I'm very happy for what they have done. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and have a great day.